Welcome to Wallbangers, guys. Episode 5. We made it to episode 5. That's based. Kind of just stole it from Badwick, and now we're here. We got a
No,
special guest
it's
tonight with,
not Badwick. We didn't steal
well,
it from Badwick. We stole it from Tommy C. Don't forget.
well, we stole it from both. We got a special guest here tonight to talk about a very special person. We have Bunk on tonight. I think at this point it would be last week. He had had a debate with Kuihman, which I don't know how do you feel about that one, Maggot?
It was very entertaining. I thought it was really embarrassing for Kuihman, to be honest.
Um, Bunk, is your mic working?
Oh yeah, no, my microphone's working. I'm just I thought you all were doing the little intro bit, the cute little introduction.
Yeah.
No. You also directed the question at Maggot, I will add, and so I was waiting for Maggot to say something, but
Yeah, you fucking faggot. Yeah, you fucking retard.
I would never speak over a woman like that. That's not in my nature.
Well, luckily my pronouns are it, so you're good.
Okay, so I can just roll over you the whole conversation.
Yeah.
I got you. I'm clocking that in. Not a single word you're saying is coming into my mouth now, or into my ears now. No, the debate with Kuihman, it's hard to give like a lot of commentary on because I don't feel as though I didn't feel as though in the moment he was engaging with many of the points that were made. And going back and rewatching it, because I don't typically go back and rewatch conversations that I have unless it's something that's like kind of high profile. I just don't consider debating Kuihman to be very high profile, to be honest with you. I don't think Kuihman's a very good debater. I take him to not be a very smart person. I think it was confirmed whenever I had the conversation with him that he's not a very smart person. Unless I'm having a conversation with somebody like that, there's not much need for me to go back over because I don't think that I'm gleaning very much from the conversation. Like the points that I'll pay attention to are literally just going to be like me ripping myself apart over a debate performance on things that only I would ever notice, if that makes sense. With Kuihman, though, going back over the debate in order to rewatch it, have it fresh in my mind for having this conversation, it is miraculous to me that Kuihman, for any second, decided to come onto my stream because he wasn't asked to be, right?
Yeah.
He was not asked to be there. There was nothing that prompted him to be there other than I attacked his buddy Chud Logic, right? I said his buddy Chud Logic was being a weird freak. I think he is. Yeah. I think he's a fucking weird freak. I think that an instance like this should be treated almost the exact same way that like an instance of him like texting somebody who was like 17 and 8 months old should be. Like there's not a relevant moral difference that exists there. The ones people are going to want to point to is like it's a legal difference. The age of consent within Britain is like 16, so there's not like really a legal difference that exists there. Nothing prompted him to come into the stream other than me making those comments about Chud Logic. And whenever he came onto the stream, it seemed like he didn't really think about anything very far. Like he hadn't like watched the stream that had taken place up to this point.
No.
He really didn't have much response to any of the points that I brought up to other people who would to talk to me earlier. He brought up somebody else having spoken with me and me getting like epically trolled by them, which I mean in this specific instance I went back, rewatched that too. I don't think they were trolling until like they realized they were doing poorly in the conversation, many such cases.
And
whenever I go back over the Kuihman conversation, I will watch it, like I can see very clearly. I don't think that a single point in that conversation, if I'm remembering correctly, and it should be because I just rewatched it, I don't think there's a single point that he makes that does not get a prompt response, like almost an immediate response. I think there's like one that he makes where he just repeatedly asks me a question over and over and over again about like gay people getting into relationships and whether that's bad.
Yeah.
To which it just gets ignored because he's interrupting the answer to a second question that he had already asked. And I had already been interrupted in order for him to ask a question. So this is him interrupting my second answer. And
I feel like he was
even
really
after that,
there.
he gets told the response. There's not too much that exists there on like the arguments on Kuihman's end.
I think he was really only there probably. I don't know if he was streaming at the time. I assume he probably was streaming at this time. I think he was only there because people in his chat were like, Bunks talking about Chud Logic. So, okay, actually, context, because I am curious about this. So, prior to this stream that you did about Chud Logic, was there any, like, did you go on any streams beforehand, or were there, like, any tweets or anything that, like, accumulated to this stream happening?
I think that there's only really a few things that kind of happened. One is while I was gone and kind of MIA from the internet, I managed to catch wind of the Noah Sampson interactions wherever I think he called Chud Logic a pedophile. which I wouldn't call Chud Logic a pedophile. I wouldn't call him a pedophile because I think there's a lot other things that you could call him that are like not disputable, right? I think you could say that he's weird as fuck with little girls, and I think that is totally fine, accurate, and I don't think a single motherfucker could ever say anything against that. I think that's like trivially true. It's a trivially true thing in this case. But in light of watching the Noah Samson video, I got wind of the actual allegations. I think separately heard like very vague talk of Chud Logic being accused of being a pedophile and the person having lied about their age. And having gone over the messages that came out, I was disgusted, to say the least. With this disgust reaction, like there's obviously the like, that's kind of morally disgusting. I find that like abhorrent. There's a bunch of reasons why I find that abhorrent. I've like thought about the topic of like morality in relationships probably a decent deal more than your average person has. It's fine, but in this case specifically, it seems like something that's intuitively morally abhorrent. This kind of only really culminated into anything whenever I had gone off and I had watched a little bit of the streams that Augie had done whenever he came back on to doing live streaming stuff, because Augie was a good friend of mine. We would hang out in fucking Dallas and Austin and whatnot, and he's a chill guy. And I watch him, he's streaming with this guy. He's streaming with this guy who has like these crazy allegations against his name. And I think that I had a conversation and direct messages with Augie where I started talking about coming back to streaming. And I think I said offhandedly in that conversation, wait till you hear my opinion about Chud Logic. You think that one's crazy? Wait till you hear the Chud Logic take. Everybody's going to be... That's going to get people actually upset. And then now that I've freed up my time, I've had the ability to come back on to the internet and like kind of pull where people's gauges are for like how bad this is, how morally wrong it is. Like, is there anything that actually morally wrong happened here? Is there any evidence of that? I
mean, I
felt like deeply we needed a fucking reality check, okay? We need like deeply a goddamn reality check. I'm sorry, the person is in their mid fucking 30s, okay?
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that.
In these messages, they're 33 years old. They say in the messages that it would be inappropriate for them to be messaging somebody, even if they were young, like 18. Right? He knows that it's a bad thing to be doing, that he shouldn't be doing it, right? He shouldn't be doing it for the same reasons that you shouldn't be doing it with like a 17-year-old, right? There's not a large social maturity difference there. There is some, right? But if we're talking in terms of like someone like Kuihman's point, where there's like, okay, but if they're 16 years old, like obviously they should be able to consent to all of these things. As a society, we don't let them have a drop in the bucket when it comes to voting, right? Like when it comes to like a small bit of their opinion being considered on like a grander scale, we clearly think they don't know what they're doing. In the context of like finding somebody like this in your Discord server, there's already a lot of like precautions you have to take if you're engaging with somebody from your community, if you're some type of streamer or some type of public figure. There's a lot of things that they might want to do. So one thing that's like really obvious is they might want to conform to the things that you want in a given relationship, because it's the case that they want that attention from you, right? There's this this feelingness to conform. Knowing that he is meeting this person in their Discord server, it is repugnant for them to have come out to be 17 years old and for him to have thought them to be about 18, right? It's like a morally repugnant thing to have happened.
Wait, so the girl was... Wait, the girl was 17?
In reality, they were 17, yes.
Yeah, she lied about her age.
Shit, okay.
Which, big fucking surprise, their profile looks like a fucking 17-year-old on Discord. Okay, I'm not an expert in this, but like, fucking look at it. They got the they, fair pronouns in their name, and it's a cartoon profile picture. Fucking look at it.
You got to that part. I listened to that too with when you and Kuihman were going back and forth, and Kuihman was like, "Everybody plays Plants vs Zombies."
Oh, the Chud thought she was a really smart 18-year-old.
She played Plants vs fucking Zombies, bro. She was fucking obsessed with that shit on a YouTube channel dedicated to it. What was the evidence?
I'm not.
What was the evidence that the?
I was just like, the only person I know that plays Plants vs Zombies is my 6-year-old. So
everybody plays Plants vs Zombies. No, I'm sorry. There's a demographic of people who really play Plants vs Zombies, and then there's the demographic of people who are like adults and very specific type of autistic, and then there's everybody else. There's the group of everybody else who does not play Plants vs Zombies, has never touched the fucking game, right? Probably you touched it when you're like 5. Everybody has played Plants vs Zombies. Not everybody has a YouTube channel dedicated to Plants vs Zombies. Those are two different things.
Oh god.
More so even than like talking about their like intuiting their mental states from the video games they play or like the profile pictures or whatever. This is kind of wishy-washy. Very directly, Chud Logic is stating in these messages that they are a virgin. They're a cute little virgin who's never done this before. This person has no context for any sexual relationships that have ever happened before in Chud Logic's mind. And Chud Logic is in his mid-30s. I'm pretty sure he's divorced at this point.
He is,
okay,
yeah.
Yeah, he's divorced, right? Not only has he had sexual relationships, he's had a whole marriage come together and fall apart in between the time, right? This person could have just gotten out of fucking high school. It is a disgusting thing. It's a disgusting dynamic to exist between two people. It is something that is like very clearly should not be happening. If you ask your average person, they'll tell you it's something that should not be happening, right? Your average person feels a sense of disgust from it. I know there's like a, broadly speaking, especially in like left-wing politics, there's this the feeling of the need to like divorce your disgust intuition from a moral intuition. Yeah, which is good, broadly speaking, I think. I think there's a lot of things that you might be disgusted by which aren't morally wrong, right? There's just like disposition differences. This is one of those times where the disgust is like a type of moral disgust. It's the same type of moral disgust you feel if you like hear that somebody has killed a large amount of people, right? It's like it's not a disgust in the sense of like I'm disgusted by like seeing a dead body or something. It's the disgust of, oh, that is a horridly wrong thing to be doing, right? And polling shows out that people think that that's not a thing that you should be doing. If you like, if you think about it for like 10 seconds as to like the mental state you were whenever you were like 18 years old, you'll think, oh my god, holy shit, I like didn't have a fully developed brain. I was still going throughout high school. I hadn't touched the real world yet. I had very barely felt these emotions. Yeah, I'd like barely have felt any of these emotions. Parsing through these things is like a whole different fucking can of worms. And also, while you're parsing through that reasoning, you also might just like you could have like a mental disorder or some shit that you have no idea about, because most of those you don't even learn about until you're fucking like 20 to 25, right? Like we're talking about mood disorders or something like that. This person is like zero fucking context for any of these interactions to be happening. To have those conversations with somebody who's in your Discord server is very much so, again, the few symmetry breakers here, like having it with a 17-year-old. And if I put it with having it with a 17-year-old, everybody has this sense of moral disgust. Holy shit, that's really bad. For some reason, whenever it's 18, we no longer consider why we have an age of consent. Right, we'd like no one to consider why it's the case that you can't do those things until you get to a certain age. Hell, even when you're 18, there's a lot of things you still cannot do. Like you still can't rent a car, you still can't buy alcohol, you still can't go to the club. There's a billion things you can't do whenever you're 18 years old. Right? And so the idea that there's this that there could be like this mutual exchange between these two individuals that won't like end up in some sense of wrongingness happening there in somebody's mind, right? Is fucking absurd. It's like a crazy thing to think, and that's why Chud Logic doesn't think it whenever he's going through the messages.
I mean, there's an obvious power imbalance.
There's a reason why Chud Logic says, yeah, it would be inappropriate for me to be having these conversations with somebody, even if they were like 18. If they were young, like 18, right, young, close to 18, it would still be wrong for me to be doing that. And he knows why it would be wrong for him to be doing it, and he did it anyway. And I think that is like that's what makes it particularly morally disgusting, is the knowingness and the doing it anyway. Yeah, it's like he's aware. Failure of moral character.
Yeah, I think commentary seems to get hung up a lot on like this whole legal moral thing. Where a lot of the time it's just like, if it's legal, they just don't care. But like, there's more to be discussed usually than just, well, this is legal, so it's fine. It's like, not necessarily. Personally, I'm of the belief that the age of consent should be higher than it is. That's just me. I think it should probably be like 20. But
yeah, I think there should probably be, in my end, I think there probably should be like Romeo and Juliet laws, like an age bracket in between individuals, like going up to somewhere around like 25.
Yeah. But they just don't understand any of these arguments. They just want to keep it at the base level of, well, it's legal, so it's fine, we don't care. But at the same time, you see them covering content and talking about things that kind of relate to these same subjects. And they are speaking about it in a completely different way, but when it's somebody that they are friendly with or make content with or can benefit from, suddenly this person has done no wrong and it's all Gucci.
Yeah, I think this is broadly speaking a problem with content creators, and I think it's been easier to see like the less online I am in like a round of these content creators. I took like a whole year-long hiatus from the internet. I think this is the first podcast I've been on in a surplus of a year. But when it comes to people who make their money off of doing YouTube, It's kind of understandable why, like, sometimes they're gonna hold their tongue on some shit like this, right? It's like, you don't want to be the one to look into it, because it would really fucking suck if you were the one who discovered that, like, oh yeah, that person's a piece of shit, that person I'm creating content with. They're, like, kind of a piece of shit. They're kind of evil. That would feel really bad, right? That'd feel very, very wrong. So it's like, you don't want to do it. You don't want to be the person who's lying about it, making content with them anyway. For people who are random motherfuckers on, like, Twitter and stuff, or whatnot, like the community opinion, for whatever you can call it, a community opinion, I think that is just purely a product of the fact that I think an environment where people are just gossiping, like literally the entire environment is gossip, it selects for a particularly mentally immature type of person. I think that is, like, selected for.
Thank you. I tried saying this before.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of those things that's kind of like trivial. I think it's like half the reason why this community is like so obsessed with the idea of like cringe and whatnot. Like that's a fucking cringe thing to be doing. It's like fucking. It's like they're the people who are plagued the most by social anxiety, right? That's like the reason why you are afraid of being cringe is because you don't have any confidence in yourself. You don't have confidence to do some different shit, right? There's a reason why there's this like large level of like attempted social conformity that exists in like this community, where it's like it's like seen very rarely in others. Even like whenever you're talking in terms of fucking politics, there is like the same social conformity aspect. There's something to be said about people, like they will actively like not just shame people for the sake of not having the tribe opinion, if that makes sense. In commentary is the only place I've seen where people just like will not, they know they don't have an argument in favor of it. They just know they don't have any reason to believe that. They consciously, they're aware of it, right? That's why they won't talk about any of the arguments that I've made or something like that.
The cognitive dissonance.
That's why I want to talk about some other unrelated relevant shit, right?
And also,
like,
this shit gets like really gay at times. Like, how many times did these like people, all these callers call into your stream and like try the dog warts 15 different times, bro?
Well, they don't for Bunk because
like,
he doesn't fucking stream. Like he's not. He hasn't had to deal
but that stream that Bunk had with Kuihman, like there was like four or five different callers that called in, all trying to do dog warts, but changed the bad part of
just
dog
trolling
warts.
bullshit. Yeah,
it's like Jesus.
To be honest, it doesn't bother me that much. Anybody coming in and calling into the stream, to me, it always is. It's a little endearing, irregardless of what they do or what they say. You would come on my stream and you could say the N-word, just hard R N-word, drop it first thing in the call, right? Yeah. I feel a little endeared that you chose my stream, right? You were watching in the chat, and then you wanted to you wanted to click the link to my Discord server and get your microphone out and say that. That's endearing, right? I don't think that I'm like the hottest shit on God's green earth. Like that's adorable to me, right? It's kind of annoying, like a little bit, right? Like get something funnier to say, right? Like I'd much rather I'll literally just talk to you about like what music you're listening to on my stream. I don't give a fuck. But it's still endearing, right? It's not like the most annoying thing in the world. Yeah. I'm not even sure if there's anything on like the internet that really like annoys or irritates me. Certainly there was at like one point in time. It'd be like people not engaging with the things that I said or like the arguments that I made forward. Right? That would be like, it'd be irritating. It'd be irritating in the sense of like, holy shit, there are so many dumb motherfuckers. But I guess like more so with time, I've kind of come to the position of like, there's like a lot of dumb motherfuckers, but like you interact with none of them in the important shit.
Exactly.
Right? Like, I've gone out. Exactly. I kind of like dedicated my life to doing like real world politics this election season. Right? I busted ass. If there is any criticism to be had of people, like if anybody can throw the stone of you don't live your values, I think it's probably going to be me. And it's just off the last fucking year alone. I never see a single motherfucker with these opinions. Oh, that acts like this, who behaves like that. When you talk to people in the real world, like even if they disagree with you and they really staunchly disagree with you, they'll try and engage with you. At least like try. This is like one of the few places where you don't see that, and I'm really, really glad that this is gonna sound strange. I'm really glad the commentary community exists because it's so fun. It's so fun to come back to. I'm sorry. I'm like real shit. I fucking adore these people, okay? They're so funny. Like, I get to poke the bees' nest and tell them they're all retarded.
I just can't.
And feel good about myself because I get to do this like this one little this little debating trick that I do. And it's fucking awesome. It's great.
I did have a question. We're gonna bounce around a bit. Like this podcast is just we're like a shit podcast. You know, we're just all over the place. There's no facts, whatever going on. You know, but I was curious. Prior to Mrow calling into your stream, had you ever seen any of his content or interacted with him before that?
Yeah, I did. Funnily enough, I think it's on this account. He messaged me a while ago while I was basically like MIA and wasn't really doing very much. He said, would you be willing to either hop on a call or answer quick questions in DMs? Your debate with acheeto from a while back. Did he really threaten to strike you for posting it? And he's trying to talk to me about the acheeto drama, ask me if I'm like willing to come on and do like an interview with him for some video. Talking about like, yeah, I know you want to be like kept out of drama, but like I can do whatever. I can like redact out whatever you want to, redact it out or whatever. And I'm just the response is like, I can do an interview. I don't really want to be kept out of drama. Like internet drama is not like a big thing to care about in the first place. Like my name can be thrown around in internet drama all I care. It doesn't have any effect on my personal life. I go out and I hang out with my friends the same. Right? Not a single one of them give a fuck about what you're saying on the internet drama.
One.
But I told him straight, I was like, for you, this is like, I get this is like the big missing puzzle piece to your like acheeto video or whatever. For me, this is a funny story from high school, I'll tell people sometimes. This is a hysterical little story from like my childhood, right? That was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That's hysterical. Like, I can do the interview, but it's not really drama anymore. It's kind of dead. It's kind of dead in the water. We already went through this, so... I don't know.
His own little controversies. I don't really know much about that one. I think, Byrne, you probably know more about Mrow's controversies than I do.
Mrow's controversies, the entire acheeto thing with Aiden, where he does this, like, he called, like, what Jalen does, like, Schrodinger's retard, and then went on Aiden's stream to, like, complain about acheeto. Not calling him a pedophile, but, like, basically going, like, weird and bad, and then Aiden would, like, debate him on why, like, acheeto is weird and bad for the fucking shrine shit. And, like, he would just be like, Mrow, just typical Mrow. He's just, or, like, he's so headstrong. And then the next streamer, like, he's, like, kind of being, like, a little puppy to Aiden. And then, like, gets blown out of the water again with Aiden. Acheeto was, like cringing that, too, because after Mrow left the call, he would join the call and go, like, Aiden, never have that guy on your platform ever again. Like, Jesus, dude.
Oh my god. I think it was the whole reason I think the Kuihman debate even happened was I was supposed to debate Aiden, and then Aiden like failed to tell me until after I had announced the stream, and it was like all he then tells me like, oh, by the way, nah, I'm headed out, I'm doing some like dumb shit. I'm doing some like I'm doing some shit away from my computer actually. Yeah. Which is hysterical because like I chose that date because he said he'd be available to do the conversation that day.
Oh.
And so I literally just hopped in the call with a bunch of random people. I do hope I get to talk to Aiden on stream. Part of me hopes that he's moved his position on this one, just so he's not making the argument in favor, because I think that looks bad. I think it looks bad to have to make the argument to anybody who like is going to ask more than 3 questions in a row, like more than 3 pointed questions. I think it looks bad to defend. I do miss having Aiden around though. Holy shit. What did him and Mrow debate? I need to know now. I need to know what the fuck these people were arguing about.
Aiden. They were arguing about, because Cheeto got like called out for basically begging for a shrine from some like e-girl on Twitter. I can link you the stream for full. Yeah, it's just and like Aiden was covering it, and like Mrow joins the call and goes, "Dude, you're sweeping for a Cheeto."
Like a Turkey Tom kind of shrine, like that.
Yes, and then you also wanted to make cakes.
The shrine? What the fuck?
Turkey Tom has this like random e-girl who is not of age, as far as I know, who is her whole existence is being obsessed with him, and she posts about it all the time.
And then like a Cheeto being like the beta, like the lower form Turkey Tom wannabe, also was like, "Can you make a shrine of me and a cake?" And that and Mrow was calling that weird and bad and etc. While if there's streams right there, I posted it in your DMs for better context. The second call, the leaked Mrow call, is the second debate. It's even worse because
Mrow is literally weird. I don't know where he gets off calling.
But he's saying Acheeto's doing it with a 17-year-old only for the same day or the next. No, yeah, 3 days later, there's DMs of Mrow sexting a 17-year-old. So it's how
real
is
shit.
Yes. There's literally Spondyle and Alex Gekmo did a Twitter space with the victim, the 17-year-old
Spondyle.
yeah,
classic.
so Acheeto's weird and bad for talking to a 17-year-old, and then 3 days
Shout
later,
out Spondyle.
3 days later,
Shout out Spondyle.
Exactly, dude. Spondyle, he's my guy. But yeah, 3 days later, he gets exposed for talking to a 17-year-old sexually, about boob pics and shit.
Oh, God.
So it's dude, you're a hypocrite. How is Acheeto weird and bad for a shrine, but you're 17-year-old booba? Damn, okay.
To be honest, I don't even know if he's a hypocrite. I think he just doesn't believe the shit that he says. Like I said when he came on my stream, I just think he's one of those people who talks to have something to say rather than having something to say and then speaking afterwards.
Yep, I agree.
It's a very strange type of human. It is bred by this content cycle that exists.
Yep, exactly.
But I don't know how you live like that. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how you don't.
They're fed by the larger creators. That's their whole existence. That's when they're calling. No, but it is part of it though, because when they're calling into your stream and stuff, they're doing that not only because they have nothing fucking better to do with their time and they're losers, but also they're doing it to get approval from these bigger streamers who could benefit them in numbers. You know what I mean? So you have to. That's part of it. It's just a bunch of bootlicking bullshit.
God, fuck. No, the thing that I'm saying is I don't. It with no offense to Mrow in particular. I don't know how you live like that and don't fucking kill yourself. Legitimately, I do mean this. I'm being genuine. I know the fucking shock of the take. Take it in, sit back. But I'm being genuine. This is a genuine statement. Because a large part of who you are as a person is experienced through your interactions with other people, right? Your conversations. When you say something, you get it affirmed by the way that people respond to you and the way that people see you.
Yeah.
You are lying every single time you open your mouth, to a little bit, right? You don't actually think this, and you don't put in the time and the dedication into it. You don't believe it in your heart and act as though you do. You're saying it, right? Is there anybody actually there behind the internet persona, or is it just you know what I mean? Is it just the internet? Are you just living through this picture on Twitter? Because if I was just living through a picture on Twitter, I'd want to fucking kill myself.
I mean, bro's a furry. He's literally a furry. So.
At the very least, when you say shit online, I'd hope, because it's one of the places where there's the least social pressure. I get that there's this feeling of social pressure through everybody who disagrees with you is going to be shown your shit or whatever, right? It's going to but it doesn't actually exist. None of these people who like you in the real world. None of them if you stop making content, they'd all be gone, right? They'd be gone tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
So it feels so this one place where you have no pressure to do anything but be able to speak your mind, right? The internet's beautiful anonymity to have this full blown rip of free speech, okay? Provided you don't say any slurs.
Yeah.
Right.
You still can't find your spine? Really?
Yeah.
Here of all places? That'd feel crushing. That'd be a part of your soul has to be gone there, right?
I mean, that's the funny part about commentary, though, and it goes back to what I was saying before about how they can't distinguish, legal versus moral. Something can be legal and still be immoral, but they absolutely refuse to have these kind of conversations, and it's just so bizarre. I don't understand where they're really not normal human beings. There's zero nuance to anything that these people talk about, which is ironic because commentary, by definition, is opinion. So why are we hyper fixating on whether it's legal or not? You're allowed to think it's fucking weird. Like, you're allowed to do that. But for some reason, they all lose their shit about it.
Yeah, it's I don't even know. There's like a commentary brain rot, obviously, that like exists amongst. So I'm not saying like everybody in the community. There are like, but it's to a point where like I take note of the people, even if they disagree with me. Like I take note of the people who are like thinking something and like engaging with what I say. I'm holy fuck. It's it's adorable, as I said before. It's so cute. It's a cute thing to have happen. The issue of like legality and morality is, I think that the reason like people try and kind of focus their lines towards legality is if you try and actually have complicated opinions about morality, you actually like try and put some effort forward there. It's a hard thing to have opinions on. It's a difficult thing to do, right? There's a lot of things you have to consider when you're talking about morality. There's like concepts such as like moral luck that exists. Like there's luck with outcomes. If you found like a serial killer who like killed another serial killer by mistake, was it like a good or a bad action, right? Like, is it you like, pose questions like that to yourself over and over again and try and find different reductios on like the things that you believe in, the moral systems you hold to. But it's a difficult thing to do. And once you do say those things, you have those difficult conversations with you, there's a part of you that has to like change the way that you act. If the bar for being a good person is just abiding by the law, right? And everything else is kind of like wishy-washy, nothing really matters. Like, holy shit, I can kind of tell why you're holding that. It's like, because that's a really low standard. You don't really have to do very much there. If all of a sudden you have to think about like, this is something that people picked up from my debate, that like playing video games in excess, if you think that's morally bad, it's like, oh shit, if I'm being a lazy piece of shit and I'm not doing anything with my life, I kind of am wasting it away. There's like a lot of people I could be helping.
Mad. I bet they were so mad.
There's like a lot of people you could be helping with that time. Just like think about it, right? Like there's a billion other things. If not to just like not play video games, right? You could be working on some kind of skill. You could be to be like really basic bitch about it. If you can't figure out anything else, to go find a fucking soup kitchen to volunteer at. Go find a fucking food pantry to volunteer at, right? Like you in some way are denying that to other people in virtue of this leisure activity. There's a degree of which obviously you need leisure within your life to not be a stressed out insane freak, right? How fucking psychology works. Talk to anybody who like does any type of therapy or like anybody who's worked in like a crisis center or anything like that. They'll tell you like it's a really big thing is trying to de-stress a patient. There are people who like their entire lives will be ripped apart by stress. Their like ability to do good will be ripped apart by stress. But there's a degree of which you are like clearly overly doing it, and that's like a hard standard to hold yourself to think about that. It's like a difficult thing to do. But it doesn't take away from the morals at all. Like, sometimes doing the right thing is fucking hard.
Yeah. I think, well, what I think about is because a few months ago, I guess I had like a similar kind of, it definitely not to the same level whatsoever, but I had a similar take like a few months ago. I'm sure you don't know who Victor Burns is. Maybe you know who Emmy is. She's the Craig Beckett victim girl or whatever.
I do know who that is.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. So there was a lot of stuff that came out about her sexting and flirting with a lot of individuals. And one of those individuals happens to be a gentleman named Victor Burns, who is, for all intents and purposes, probably old enough to be my father. And I'm almost 33. So, take that how you want. And I said that it was weird for him to be in the DMs with this girl, and objectively, it's fucking weird. That really, there was nobody that disagreed with me, other than people who just had like a very strong bias against me. Those were the only people who were disagreeing, and even they weren't like outwardly disagreeing that much, because it's just true. You look at somebody like Victor Burns, and it's like, subjectively, this is weird. Like, this guy is fat and disgusting, and like what?
Well, I don't know if being fat has anything to do with it. But...
It does. Okay, I'm sorry. Looks play a role. I'm sorry, they do.
Okay. I don't think they play with morality, but
and she's 18.
We disagree on that one. I guess.
I'm just like, she's sure. There's nothing illegal there, and she also lives in the UK, I believe. So. There's nothing illegal there. But still, this girl every time she pops up in literally anything, it's related to some sort of a sexual, like, she's been taken advantage of some way, like, like Craig Beckett. And what was the other one? What was the last one, Burn? There was another one. I know there was.
God.
With Emmy?
How many? Oh, fuck. Well, I mean, I would say, like, how many
Echo.
times you'd fuck up, but I guess you're a teenager. That's kind of my point. You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, don't talk about Echo Tragedy, please.
I know, I thought about it, but he
You know-
it is true, though. He is an example, even if he is a fucking scumbag, yeah.
Yeah, how old was Craig Beckett during all of that? Because I do remember there being, like, a substantial backlash to Craig Beckett. And if I remember correctly, she wasn't...
I have no idea. He
wasn't
was married.
much
I know he was
younger, but-
married at the time.
Surely that's not the issue.
No.
Right.
Maybe 30? I wasn't really
I'm
paying
gonna
attention.
look, because I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, Tipster covered it, so that's when I clicked off because I didn't care.
God. I don't know
Tipster
what
bias.
Tipster... I'm not even sure. I don't even know what Tipster did. I'm gonna be real. I don't know what Tipster did. I
He
don't
was
know
friends
what
with
Blacks
Caffles.
did.
Crazy
I
moment. He
don't
was friends
know.
with Caffles.
I
don't know who any of these-
dumbing down to that.
These people apparently all really fucked up or something.
Yeah.
It
He
does
also,
not
like-
affect how I engage with the world. So it's just
Yeah.
like,
He also like mega defended the lolly shit too. So
Yeah,
that was
that's true.
also
That's
part
true.
of it.
That's true. That's true.
the lolly shit.
I mean, I can't take that shit seriously when there's other people in the space who have had arguably worse things like that happen, and nobody bats an eye about their existence, like lyrics. I mean, this guy has and I'm not going to bat for Mr. Sen here. I'm not going to bat for Mr. Sen here, but he has one instance of that happening, whereas lyrics has like several instances
Over
of
3
him-
years.
looking and liking lolly content. So it's like, to me, there's a little bit of a difference. They're both bad, right? Objectively. But there is a difference between the two.
I'm not sure about the lyric stuff, or Mr. Scent, to be honest with you. I think the only interaction I have ever had with Mr. Scent was after they called one of my editors at the time, Dingo, a pedophile.
Oh,
And I started calling them a pedophile back because I knew it gets to them a lot more than it gets to Dingo. And like, what are you gonna say? Like, you just falsely accuse somebody of being a pedophile? You just like accuse this like very small child of being a pedophile? Like, what are you gonna say? He demands to debate me on the subject matter, and I pull him on straight. I just fuck with him for like an hour straight. I don't give him a single ounce of like actual respect to like act as though I should be debating this like it's a serious topic. That's all I know about Mr. Sen is that one conversation I had with him.
Well, commentary really loved him up until last year, so they really loved him.
Until last year,
Up until last year, up until he got like ousted. I mean, technically, I also got ousted, but my reasons were very different. So,
yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
it
seems really, really unwise to me. For anybody like who does find their place in the community of commentary, it seems deeply unwise to make friends with the vast majority of the people there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It just on the pure grounds, like, yeah, that's what they do. They do drama and they do gossip. Right? They're like the first people to try and stab you in the back. I'm sorry, that's just how this space works. Like, fucking suck it up. Right? There are like very clearly there are obvious exceptions. Right? Like I said earlier that like I think Augie's a very, very good person. But like on majority, like we're talking about like people who have, I don't know, like you're bracketing around the like 1,000 to like lower threshold like 500 range on Twitter, maybe like 2,000.
Yeah.
The idea of finding your space in the scene of people who just gossip and like trying to get some type of I don't even know, like some part of your ego from that seems like deeply unwise.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Jesus fucking Christ. There are far better things that you could be caring about. And if it actually affects you, for these people to like cut you off and like stop interacting with you in some type of negative sense, that's like you're engaging with the community in the wrong way, in my opinion, to be honest with you.
I agree. I don't really care that they cut me off. I just like the things that happened afterwards. Like I guess they just act like you're not allowed to exist at all afterwards, even if you're not engaging with them or anything. You're just not. It's part of why I just don't have Twitter anymore. I haven't been on Twitter for more than a month now, and it's amazing. I don't want it back. But
No, I
yeah,
understand that. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't even know. I log into this account 3 times per week, I think. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If I was something on this account, normally you can wait. You can wait at least a day, a day or two.
Yeah.
I got a normal Discord account for normal school shit and whatnot.
Well, that's the difference between normal people and the people that are existing in the commentary community, because the people that exist in the commentary community, that is their life. That is literally their life. That is what they spend all of their time on, with the exception of maybe people like Augie. Definitely Augie, actually.
No, Augie, yeah.
With the exception of people like Augie, maybe Nicholas Yorio, whatever. I'm 50-50 on that one. These people actually have real lives. They have real lives. Okay, fuck Nick. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Wait, what the
Jesus
fuck?
Christ.
I have to do it. I'm sorry. Okay. With the exception of them who are off having real jobs and real lives.
I think Nick's a swell guy, but that's just me.
Yeah, he's swell. I think he's swell. I think he's definitely swollen.
Jesus fuck.
Jesus.
Give the man a break. I know he's a massive target. Doesn't even have to hit him
You're
all
right.
the
I
time.
have to give him a break. I'm sure he has a hard enough time carrying himself around. Anyways, so
God damn.
The problem with fat people online is that there's too many fat. There's just way too much material to make fun of with any given fat person. There's so many puns you can make. It's genuinely fucked up. It's hard out here for fat motherfuckers online,
my point
okay?
is, these people have nothing. These people have nothing else going on in their lives other than this content drama shit. Because when I look at, and I'm talking, I guess, about mostly small commentary, which is fed by content creators like Now Recording, Xylee, there's a few others, but in that area, these people have nothing going on in their life other than being involved in this drama and paying attention to this and having an opinion about it. And it's just, it's a sad existence. They're sad people. I don't know.
I cannot say I have a strong opinion on the personal lives of many of these people. I'm not gonna lie. I obviously
they're all
have the
socially
perspective
inept.
of,
They're all
what I
socially inept.
observe. I mean, some of them clearly. I'm not sure how socially inept Xylee is. I think Xylee's fine. Xylee's been very sweet to me ever since.
No, that's true. That's true. I'll give you that.
I want it to be known that though I'm on this podcast, I do not avow every single thing that is said about these people.
that's fair.
Okay?
These are y'all's opinions.
So. I can't argue. I can't argue for or against them. I've been completely I don't use the internet like I used to. It's just the long and short of it. My Twitter page is barren, not because I don't tweet whenever I'm on Twitter, scrolling through every single. I just I don't open Twitter. It's just I found that I'm not very happy when I do open it. It's just there's not much to be found there. Every time I open it up, I don't find something worth interacting with. And so eventually you stop. As your priorities shift, you realize that you're not getting what you need out of the time that you spend there, and you could just.
I have no issue with Xylee. I made an argument during one of our last episodes where I just said that it suggests a level of immaturity for somebody her age or Tommy C's age or etc. to be existing in a space like this, because most people in that age demographic are not doing those things. They're off having a real life and a 9-to-5 and raising their kid. You know what I mean? And I don't mean it as an insult. It's just degree, that's just what it is.
I do understand what you mean. In the case of Tommy C, I'm pretty sure that guy's been. I'm not gonna lie, that guy's fucking ancient. Okay, I know what Tommy C is old, is kind of, but I remember when Tommy C was making content, and I was fucking, how old was I? Fucking 10 or something, 12. Tommy C is he's been around for a hot minute, so maybe it's just it's a part of his life, it's a part of the space he exists to online. Maybe it's just I don't know, he fucking likes making money off the shit. I mean, it seems like he makes good money off of it. It seems like Xylee makes good money off of it. I mean, fuck. I'd be lying if I said that part of the reason I came back is not because I fucking, made money off that last stream, right? I get the fucking YouTube payout or whatever just from the last stream alone. There's an element of it is, you're gaining something off of it that is useful for the rest of your life. But there is something to be said about like people who don't just comment, but like find themselves caring about everything that they comment on. Like you don't. I'm not saying that you have to like particularly. You have to like not care about anything that you say, right? Obviously, I'm saying the opposite when it comes to people who just like talk for the sake of talking. But whenever you're talking about something, the stream goes off. Like surely you stop caring about it, or you know what I mean? It's like not you stop caring about it, as in like you no longer hold the opinion, but it's just not something that affects your life. Like you don't really want to go on Twitter and talk about it afterwards. It's not really worth engaging with like on Discord or whatever, like the day after you're done making the content. Like the content's made, like you've done it, like, you've done your job. Like it's fucking time to pack.
That's the case for some people,
and that's kind of like very broad. Yeah, I mean for some people it is, and for some people it isn't. That's kind of like what I'm saying. It's like the delineation I'd make there. Like it in my case, like fucking it. Before making this podcast, I haven't fucking talked about Chud Logic in a whole fucking week, right? Like I made my show, I made my Kuihman debate or whatever. Like fucking came on, talked to the guy, and I turned off my stream. I went and I smoked weed with my friends, and I hung around and we watched some movie that I can't even remember the name of, some dumbass shit, some dumbass comedy movie together, right? Like that's, and then the thought doesn't have to re-enter your mind. Not the like. It's not bad what Chud Logic did. It's just like there's a lot more that's worth caring about. And if you're gonna spend your time caring about shit, you might as well be either making money off of it or caring about the shit that actually matters. Like the real shit that matters. Like your morals, the way that you fucking conduct yourself, the places you're spending your time, existentially the type of person you want to be, you know what I mean? Like fucking at the very least spend your free time making mental progress on yourself rather than like talking about and thinking about people who have very minimal influence on your life. It's just like I think it's just like a broad maturity thing.
I think realistically, as far as Chud Logic goes, I think really the biggest nail in his coffin is just that he agrees with your argument. Like, point blank, he agrees with your argument based on his own messages and a conversation that myself, and Peepaw had in our like a year ago. He agrees with what you're saying. He knows that morally it's incorrect. So any other argument outside of that is a waste of time.
To be very clear, I'm not even just making it's not just the argument that it's like it is morally correct. Because you could say, like, yeah, it's morally incorrect. And you can do the thing, like, you know, everyone has their moral failing. It's not just that it's moral. It's that it's like real shit moral wrong. It's like real shit bad. It's like, you know, that when you think about it in terms of like around what you think the moral wrong is with like engaging with a 17-year-old like that. Right? Just it's about that. Right? It's about that amount of moral wrong. The difference that exists between those two age brackets, even if you're talking about somebody who just turned 17, just turned 18, is very minimal in comparison to the gap between 18 and 33 years old. Right? That's a very minimal difference. If you think that makes a significant difference, holy shit. You should really think that the thing is already bad to begin with. If you think it makes a significant difference in the ability of like the person to engage morally, it's there's already the difference that exists there within the relationship as it exists.
Yeah. Bern, did you
we're
have
talking
any
about doubling the age
specific?
So
not really. Though I mean, I guess we could go into it. I mean, Kuihman was one of the people that kind of just like assassinated Bo Blacks. Have you been like, which is like, yeah, it was one of the people that like just like chopped off Bo Blacks' head and let it roll.
Logic as well.
How do you feel about the recent Bo Blacks dramas, or have you even kept up with happened with Bo Blacks?
I don't even know what he did. The one thing I have seen is Chud Logic leaking on stream that Bo Blacks had like worn a dress. Apparently he's also this Chud Logic has apparently talked shit about me since I've been kind of MIA and whatnot. I've been told. I just find it funny that he's talking shit on other people with the skeletons. I just think it's funny as fuck. Like, what the fuck are you doing? That's literally all I know about it. I do think it's pretty morally abhorrent that it got leaked. Just like, regardless of who did it, that just is like, if you know that, that's not something you use to make fun of somebody. In my mind, if you're like a decently moral person,
not to these people, right? Not to these people.
And then a week later,
especially not to these people. Yeah, it's especially not in the crowd that you like. If I found myself in, I don't even know. This is also something that, like, if I found myself in a room of neo-Nazis, right, I wouldn't be making jokes very specifically about like I might make a racist as fuck joke with my friends who are like Afro-Hispanic. I would not make that in front of like Nick Fuentes or Mia. Right, I would never make those jokes in front of them. There's just like so much you'd rather. If you think this Bo Black guy is so bad, like there's so much rather to talk about.
I mean, yeah, and
But
then
I
like
think
2 weeks, then like 2 weeks later, after Chudlogic leaks out on Nick's stream, Bo Blacks's Manshi account, which just like had his dick out and everything like he accidentally leaked his email on the stream, and like the Kiwi Farmer A loggers logged into it and linked it to his OnlyFans, and there was a public Twitter which had like him in a very in a red dress with his pubes out, and it was really disgusting.
Is it there? Is it there? I'm
No,
not
once he got
confused on
found
the
out, he fucking
pronouns.
privated that shit real quick.
No, but like the pronoun is what I'm confused about. Is like because I think they're non-binary, as I've been told.
Yeah, they're
So-
non-binary,
Yes.
but on the
Yes,
Manshi account,
they are.
on the Manshi account was he, him, she, her, they, z, them. I don't.
Okay, so it's like all pronouns. I understand.
Yes.
Okay, I gotcha.
Bigender, transgender, non-binary. Like,
What did,
it was a lot. It was a
What
lot
did
in the
Bo Blacks
bio.
do? What was the like big moral bad that was done? What was
So
the,
in specific, I don't think there was any moral bad in regards to that. I think that the catalyst for that was the stuff that happened beforehand, which is, to summarize, Bo Blacks had asked Nicholas Diorio for like a generous amount of money for his house loan. It was like, I don't know, $2,000, $4,000, something like that.
2,000 Canadian.
And he also lied to Nick and a multitude of his other friends about having BPD and things like that. And then people started leaking recordings with him, and I mean, you know how it goes. It's like
Okay,
once it starts, it's never ending.
No, hold on. Bo Blacks recorded a call with Lyrics without Lyrics' knowledge, and then leaked it as like content for 2025.
I don't care. I don't care because none of these people care either, and they're gay for acting like they do.
I don't even fucking. There's a. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm gonna be so real with you. I'm like, as I said, not the internet guy I used to be, not the scholar. You know what I mean? But
You're not the scholar.
fucking. Yeah, I'm not
Bo
the
Blacks has
internet
been
lore
having
scholar
that,
I used to be.
Yeah, Bo
Unfortunately.
Blacks has been having a real fun time since September 11th, 2024.
Damn.
Because
Fuck.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I fucking regardless of what he did, I hope he's gonna do fine. I don't know. I guess kind of broadly, how I wish about people. I don't wish poorly onto anybody in particular.
Yeah.
Try not to anyway. It's
Yeah, that's fair.
not productive.
One of the things I was curious about, actually, though, was when I watched your debate that you had with Kuihman and the other people that called in, there seemed to be like a very weird hyper focus on your sexuality and the people that you've been sexually engaged with and etc. What do you think about people like hyper focusing on that? Because that seems to be like a common thread with these people. As soon as they have this kind of information about you, they'll talk about it endlessly. As soon as they know, to me, I find it weird to focus that much on somebody's,
Oh yeah, it is weird. It's super weird. Personally, I find it funny as fuck. And then from my perspective, you have to understand. Like when I put in between like the whatever fucking Clancy stuff and the Femio stuff or whatever, I've had an entire like a whole super committed relationship, like living with my girlfriend, right? Like this one point, right? That nobody knows jack shit about that because it's like, it's something I put out. Like when I put these things out, you must understand, I put them out with the knowledge that this is exactly what people are going to be talking. Like that it's funny as fuck to me that this is like, it's going to get brought up on like now recording, right? That's hysterical. Oh my God. Right. It's just like, you are focusing on where my dick goes and it's the fucking talk of the town. It's the headline for
or talking about your dick.
Yeah.
We're
like
talking about your
Jesus
dick.
Christ. Right. Like
Weird.
of all of the things to be talking about, you are like concerned about what I'm doing there. Right. It's, particularly, I don't think people realize that, and I guess I'll clue some people in. They watch the podcast. It's not gonna go far. I don't think these people take these people to be very strategically minded whenever they have these types of conversations with people. Every time somebody brings it up in a debate with me, you always look bad. You always look like a fucking nutcase. Right? It's like we're talking about something completely unrelated, and randomly you've decided to bring it onto the subject of my dick.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you? That's the average person looks at that and goes, what the fuck is wrong with this person?
Or we'll
That
try
has
to
nothing to
say
do with
that-
what we're talking
or
about.
we'll
That's
try
a
to-
strange thing to bring up, right?
It's
Or we'll
worse
try-
that they admit.
or-
They
or
basically
we'll
admit
try-
watching the video. They basically admit to watching the video.
Yeah, I know,
It's
real
worse, it's like,
shit.
what the fuck?
Yeah,
Real
but then
shit.
they're
Like, what are you
like-
doing?
like-
but my
like-
friends leaked it to me. Why do you have friends that are doing that? What are you doing?
110% true. Or like Kuihman will like randomly bring up that like you're like a coke addict or some shit.
He
They're
said
like,
heroin addict, and
Yeah.
the funny
He
thing,
called you
like
an
an
opiate
opioid
addict.
addict.
Yeah.
And then I asked him, "Really, I am? What the fuck did you? Where'd you hear that? When was I an opioid addict?" And he just admits that like he's lying, like he's
Well,
just straight up lying. Yeah, I know that's false. I'm saying it anyway. Well, you don't look like your ass mad in the conversation. That was one thing I watched back over. Somebody said that like Kuihman was calm and collected throughout the conversation, and I find this fucking hysterical because I just watched it back over. He's seething. He is seething fucking mad.
No, he's
it's so
absolutely
obvious.
mad.
He's seething
Yeah.
the entire fucking
He's so
time.
mad. That's
I
the
enjoy
worst
these
debate I've ever seen.
conversations. I
That's
don't
the
get
worst
mad
debate
at
I've
these
ever seen.
conversations real shit because it's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's this one thing that I'm like I get to remind myself like, oh yeah, no, I just like can do that with people. Like I'm just like that guy who does the debate thing. It's like part of the reason I came back with like a controversial type of debate topic is like if I'm gonna be back online, I need to I need to remind people.
Yeah.
Like I'm that guy. Yeah. This is the thing that I'm known for. The idea like this is something new for me is hysterical. It's like I know some of y'all ain't been around. Y'all just came in, right? Like this is the way I made my namesake was having a controversial opinion and arguing with people about it.
Yeah, that was one of the interesting parts of the debate to me too. Was when philosophy came up. And Kuihman tried to like get you in a gotcha of, well, who's your favorite philosopher? And then
And
Bunks, what's your
also
favorite
the
philosophy book?
outcomes of the given.
What's
So
your favorite philosophy
probably
book?
Reasons and Persons by Derek Parfit, but I've got a couple of other ones up on my desk.
Could you give me a summary of
on what matters?
Reason Person,
Yeah, I can give you a summary of it. So the book kind of starts out with talking about theories of rationality, mostly things like self-defeating theories of rationality. Indirectly self-defeating ones specifically is kind of the route that it goes down, more so in regards to things people like having, what would you call it, a self-interest motivated theory of rationality, that being self-denying is going to be something that is morally bad for you, right? It's like it's an irrational thing to be doing. And he goes down with various different thought experiments as to why this might be
so
indirectly
why is something
self-defeating and direct.
self-denying morally bad?
What?
Why is something self-denying morally bad? Or whatever the fuck you just said. I'm just
It's not.
You're not
Are
even
you
listening
tracking
to
it
the
all?
shit that I'm saying.
No,
Why are
you're
you
right,
asking
you're
for a
right,
summary
I'm
of the
just,
book?
I'm just trying to make you explain it. So
You're
you can
trying
talk
to
yourself
you're
back,
trying to
that
like
sounds smart.
trip me up on something, and you're realizing, oh shit, this person actually does read philosophy. They actually like they
No, I'm
do
just-
care
I'm
about these
making-
things.
I'm making
I
you
don't
keep
go
going.
for.
I'm making
What's your
you keep
favorite
going.
philosophy, Kuihman?
I don't read philosophy.
That's right.
Then why the fuck are you using terms like begging the question?
And then you
I just
literally
give him a
started telling him.
philosopher.
He did not expect you to know philosophy at all. It was very clear.
It's brutal.
But
My
he thought you were
camera-
gonna lie.
Real shit. My camera is. I might take a picture of it and send it to you if you go to put it up. I have my camera stacked on top of a bunch of philosophy books. Real shit. I have a bunch of old philosophy books, and I don't have a camera stand anymore, and so I just stacked it on top of these
Send it.
thick-ass
Yeah,
philosophy
take a
books
picture
I've
and
read
send
through.
it. Yeah, for sure.
And there's also Dark Souls there. There's Dark Souls, and there's some random
Yes.
book from my my grandfather.
What was that? What was that like
didn't-
philosophy term? I'm not into philosophy. I have no jack shit. Like what
You're
was that term?
retarded.
Yeah, I am retarded. Welcome to like commentary.
You have to care about the things I care about, or you're dumb.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to commentary. What was it like? There was a phrase that like he was debating you on. I forget what it was.
Begging the question.
Yeah, that. Like he
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
and he was
So
debating on like the definition or some shit on it. I don't know.
Yeah, he said I was begging the question, which is really funny because if you watch the debate, he said getting into a bad relationship is wrong. It's like, yeah, getting into a bad relationship is bad. And then he says that's begging the question. No, begging the question. If you wanted to say it's begging the question or a circular argument, what you'd want to say is, no, I deny one of the premises because one of the premises is the conclusion is just the premise, right? It's just it logically follows. It's like a trivial thing. You're saying something with no actual meaning behind it. The problem is like it's not begging the question if you were the one who said it was a bad relationship. You're the one who put that on the table. That's your premise, right? You agree with this one. So if something is entailed from this one premise, right, like something like a bad relationship is bad or something, like yeah, that's just gonna be it's gonna be something that's trivially true, right? If I were to say like that is a bad relationship, and then somebody were to follow up with by saying something like yeah, being in like a bad relationship is bad. at saying as though they begged the question to say the thing was bad. Like, no, they just put a premise on the table, right? The premise is just that being in a bad relationship is a bad thing to do. Right? It's not even we're not even like getting to the point of like the sophisticated argumentation that's like hard to follow, where there's like there are arguments that beg the question, which are just not this like single premise that like kind of seems to entail things out from it. The problem with his like line about of begging the question is when you say something like, and he brings a Wikipedia as though it's this crazy fucking own. Trust me, I've read Wikipedia. I've read a little bit more. About
I remember that. Yeah,
a tiny bit more, right? Maybe a little. Yeah. No, to say that argument that begs the question is just an argument in which the premises assume the truth of the conclusion. The problem with saying something like that is all arguments that are valid, that deductively follow, the premises assume the truth of the conclusion. If all the premises are true, right, every single premise is correct, then the conclusion naturally follows, right? It follows from the inference rules, which are put down, the 9 inference rules. Formalized logic. You can put this out. I could write it out with freaky symbols like I do sometimes. Right? You can be a fucking nutcase. Yeah. All valid arguments at that point beg the question. Right? This is why this is not the one that's standardly used. It's not the definition that's standardly used whenever we're talking about philosophy, because it's not a case that begging the question is what's called a formal fallacy. Formal fallacies are arguments which don't follow formally from logic. Right? There's some part of the argument which is it has an inference which is incorrect. In cases of informal fallacies, you're not making some formal error with your argument. You are it's thing that sounds persuasive but isn't, if that makes sense. It is like the way of sounding as though you are arguing in favor of when you really not.
Yeah.
With begging the question, the way that it's to be standardly used from like you heard like Dakota bring up Synth bring up like the SEP, the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. The way that it's typically going to be used in the context of people who like are talking about philosophy as though they actually care about philosophy, like people who are it's going to be just an argument where there is no dialectical power that exists with it, because for somebody who denies the conclusion of the argument, the thing the argument is supposed to be in favor of, will naturally obviously deny one of the premises. Like one of the premises is unargued for, and it's the case that it is instantiating the conclusion. Like the conclusion is derived from it, but if you deny the conclusion, you obviously deny that premise. The premise is like trivially not true.
Yeah.
So an example of that would be something like if I were to say something like a murder is an unjustified killing, abortion is murder. Therefore, abortion is unjustified. Right? No, that argument's valid. It validly follows, right? There's not a part of that argument where the logic is wrong, right? The problem with that argument, and why it's begging the question, is because if somebody denies that abortion is an unjustified killing, they obviously deny that it's murder. They trivially deny that it's going to be murder, right? You can tell me before I say anything in response to that argument, if you disagree with abortion being wrong, you could tell me exactly the argument, one of the premises that they're going to disagree with. You know the premise they're going to disagree with before anything's actually on the table. When you're trying to make something deductively follow, you're trying to make it follow from premises which are agreed upon, right? That's the whole point of bringing up those arguments. If you were going to try and formalize it out, the reason that it wouldn't have dialectical power, and what you actually end up doing is you actually end up giving an argument in favor of that premise alongside all the other premises. So there'd be like, there are going to be premises that are exist before that, right? There's a part of the argument which is like assumed. There are like these phantom premises which exist, right? There's inferences which are being made which are unsaid. And this is something you have to actually like think about philosophy. You have to like kind of really be talking to people about philosophy before something like this even becomes relevant. I think that one thing that Kuihman, especially whenever he's asking me like, who's your favorite philosopher, as though I couldn't name you, like I couldn't shotgun you off 15 different philosophers off the top of my fucking head. Like, what are you talking about? This is something I really should care about. This is like an autism hyperfixation of mine. This is, you know what I mean?
It's very clear he doesn't know anything about you. Very clear.
I'm not like somebody who's like does commentary debate. People who like give a fuck about debate, like really care about debating philosophy, like those autistic rhetoric lords. They're like places that Destiny's like whole like thing comes from. Those people think I'm insanely fucking good at debate, right? I'm like, and not like the best to ever exist, right? But those people, they know that I kind of know my shit, right? I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to, you're not going to knowledge gap me on philosophy. It's such a strange thing to be trying to do. You're not going to be able to knowledge gap me on formal logic. You don't even, if I were to tell you a disjunction, you wouldn't know what that means. you don't know what those concepts don't mean anything in your head. You don't, and he admits like he doesn't put the time forward towards it. And so, like, honestly, the big blunder is like, it's fucking, some people just need to get their fucking ego in check when they're talking to people. Real shit.
I mean, my biggest takeaway from that debate, really, and then maybe it's stupid, but one of my biggest takeaways from that debate was simply that I feel that Kuihman was kind of exposed for being a fake intellectual. Like, watching him try to conversate with you and Synth, and it was just like, because you have to realize
it's pretty bad. It's pretty
so
bad when you try
bad.
to track the argument.
It's so bad, but you have to realize, like, all of these people in commentary are hyping this guy up so much. They're like, they probably were in his chat right at that moment, being like W07. But it's like, he looks so dumb. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, the only thing that people have said, the one thing that they've said is like, oh my god, you get owned by Kuihman. You turned him down when he was like interrupting you for the third time in a row, right? Which is
numbers based.
One, that's hysterical. Secondly, he turns Dakota down in the conversation.
Yep.
The reason I forget, I real shit forget to turn him back up because I think his voice is grating on my ears, right? It's just like the things he says don't need to be heard that loud in my headphones, and I just forget because I don't stream very often anymore. That also affects how everybody else hears. I have to turn it down on my interface rather than turn it down for the entire stream. So even if people like tried to level like, oh my god, but you muted him at some point in the conversation, he did the same thing. I'm sorry, like. I mean, if you think that I bombed like, he real shit bombed that conversation, right? And if you're gonna say, oh, but you both lost, what that sounds like to me is you agree with Kuihman and you know that he didn't do well, right? Because if you think he's got the correct position and nothing shined through from his correct position, he was like correct on the substance and he couldn't get anything in, that's bad. That looks really bad. Imagine if, like, I went into a debate with somebody. Imagine you, like, debated Sneeko on whether fucking kids was okay. And people said it was a draw. It was, like, a wash. Like, come on. You lost. I'm sorry. Real shit, you lost.
People just dick suck people who get bigger numbers. That's what it comes down to for me. I think these people who think that Kuihman did really, really well, it's simply because he gets more numbers. He has more people in his chat. You know what I mean? That's all it comes down to for a lot of these people.
Well, I think a lot of it is just based on what they agree with before they go into the conversation. I think that's really strongly where it's at. Kuihman's case specifically, I think there's a element of like social bias to it. But like on my end, real shit, I know that I'm good at debate. Like, this is one of the few things I know about my side, affirmatively say, like, yeah, no, I'm pretty fucking good at that one. I've watched over the debate that I had with Kuihman. I know I won. I'm sorry. If anybody was paying attention knows I won. I could just point you to the conversation. There's a reason that afterwards he does a whole stream review of the conversation he just had. God. And I just moved the fuck on. Because I talked my shit. I'm done. I'm sorry. Like, I ain't gonna, I'm not gonna justify it to anybody that I won the debate with Kuihman. Look at the conversation played out. He appeals to Wikipedia at the very end, and is like, well, if you think Wikipedia is wrong, you're owned.
Yeah, because there's never any instance of Wikipedia or Google being incorrect ever.
Those
like,
things
literally
would
ever.
never be incorrect. They would never be incorrect. It would never be the case that Wikipedia would phrase something more simply so that you could get a complex topic. They would never do that. They would never ever do that. That would never happen.
I think one of my favorite parts of the debate in general was when Synth was arguing with Kuihman, and they asked, I'm not sure of Synth's pronouns, so I'm just going to say they.
They, she, yeah.
Okay. They asked him how much, like, or maybe it was you, actually. I think it was a mixture of the two of you, maybe, that asked like what he does for a living and etc. And he responds with, I'm a streamer.
Do you ever talk to anybody outside of the house?
Yeah.
What do you do for work?
I'm a streamer.
You have a... Okay, so no, you don't. Your ass is inside 24/7 playing video games and yapping about fucking commentary drama. You don't know how to engage in a normal conversation like any sane person. I just need you to try your best to wait till the end of a sentence before you start yours.
Conversation style.
And then Synth comes in right away with like, okay, so you just like you never leave the house. All you do is sit around and argue about fucking stupid a commentary drama, and I was just like, this debate is over. This debate is really over. Like, it's just over at this point.
The point I'll make, and I think this is probably where because again, I'm really talking about like I totally won that conversation. I think that like you watch my conversation I have with people and it's just like I don't look at it.
Mhm.
Real shit. If you guys think that Kuihman did well in that conversation, bully him into uploading it. I beg you, bully that motherfucker into uploading it. Get him to fucking upload it. I'll believe that he thinks that he won whenever he uploads it. Because I'll tell you what, I've been talking to people in debates for long enough. Right? I've had enough of them. I've had thousands of debates. Okay, thousands of them. Real shit, not an exaggeration. At this point, I can tell internally when there's a disconnect. Like the disconnect eventually happens between the things that somebody's saying and the things that they're thinking. Right? I can tell whenever they know that they're wrong. They just like know internally that they're wrong. I can tell Kuihman in that conversation, even if he like deep down believes that like, oh, well, I'm just getting out debated. He knows that he doesn't have an argument there. Like he knows that he's getting beat down on the argument. He was getting like his fucking ass blown out whenever it comes to the actual substance of the conversation. And that's why he like moves off into some like other random dumb shit, right? That's why he like wants to instead talk to like Dakota randomly. I told Dakota very explicitly to not jump into the conversation. That's why like they try and like ping back to me whenever they start bombing the conversation with Dakota. That's why like whenever I'm talking to them about the actual substance of the conversation, they're trying to cut me off and bring up that like and lie about me being a heroin addict. Right? Yeah. Like that's the reason that they want to do that. I can tell. Right? I can tell internally. It's no sweat off my back. It doesn't fucking matter to me. I want to see him upload it. If real shit, you got the ball. Put your fucking money where your mouth is. Put that shit up. I'm not surprised he hasn't. I would not be surprised he hasn't.
Well, he get all the fake hype, you know.
Well, I think that even whenever you do get fake hype for a debate, I think that like when somebody argues with me like that, and I not even I think this, like I know it first because people talk to me about it. It sometimes it's actually real shit. It's like an issue with people I'm like associated with online because we'll get in like a debate. Like they feel bad. It's like a bad feeling. It's a bad feeling to feel like you're off your feet and getting like berated by somebody. Right? That feels like shit.
Yeah.
That's like that's why I'm gonna upload it and I don't think he will. Right? It's like if you know that you're kind of caught out on something, you know you don't have an argument for something, it like feels a lot worse. So you could like feel the I think Andrew Wilson said this to me at some point off air recently, and it's so true. Cognitive dissonance is like a physical pain for somebody. Yeah. It's like a blowtorch in the fucking face, right?
100%.
Like, irregardless of people telling you did real well afterwards, you gotta fuck your face is burned off, right? Like it feels like shit. And so I don't think he would desire for more people to see that conversation. But if he does, I really hope he uploads it. I know that whenever I upload it, it's going to be I'm gonna put a compressor on it and make it so that he's very audible. I might even go to his stream to try and grab some of his audio and overlay it. So people can hear every dumb motherfucking thing this guy says, because it's hysterical. So the one thing I messed up on the debate was not turning his volume up so you could hear the dumb shit he was saying.
I was actually just gonna say, I think like one of the only thing, and I'm not on Twitter, which is probably where a bulk of this kind of conversation is happening. But what I was going to say is I bet a lot of the criticism towards you is just simply that you had him turned down. And it's like, at first, when I watched it, I was like, why is he turned down so low? But then when I rewatched it again, I'm like, well, he is talking over you. Like, he's letting you finish any point.
He's like, every 20 seconds, he asks a question and doesn't listen to the answer of it. And like 3 times in a row. It's fucking annoying.
So it makes sense why you turned him down. It makes sense. So, I mean, if people want to stick to that, I mean,
it's
they're
not even like
anyways,
it's not even that it makes sense. Like, Kuihman did it. Because, like, fucking, that's what you do sometimes in a debate stream. Somebody's being, like, really fucking obnoxious. So, I try really hard not to. I think that the error was not in turning him down in terms of like the way the debate. I think you still watch the debate. He still looks like he's fucking a nutcase. So like people can rewind it and they can watch it and they can be like, oh yeah, no, he did just interrupt 3 times after asking a question. It's like freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
But like there is so much. If you go to his stream, you go from his end, right? It's like very specifically, me and Dakota watched from his end. He says a bunch of dumb shit in the time that he's turned down. He should be grateful I turned his fucking volume down. He sounds like a retard. He's like screaming into his microphone for me to answer a question that I like easily answer after like a couple of seconds of him being a constantly interrupting fucking spurging retard.
Yeah.
Like, I think you should be grateful I turned him down. I feel low-key, like, as I said on the stream, I do still kind of feel bad for Kuihman. I kind of feel bad for letting him do that, but like who am I? Apparently he's like 30 or something. Who am I to tell him what to do? Right?
Oh my god, was he really? I thought he was much younger than that.
I was told by somebody he was like 30 or something, but fucking.
I thought Chud was younger too, but.
I'm not gonna lie, Chud looks his age. I don't know. Chud looks like he's in his mid-30s.
You know,
he looks like he's in his mid-30s and in between the legs of somebody who's 18.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
No, come tell me I'm
Jesus
wrong.
Christ.
You're not wrong.
Tell me I'm wrong.
People are obviously going to view anything I have to say through as though I'm being biased or anti-commentary or whatever, so my opinion essentially doesn't really matter. But, Bern, was there anything else you wanted to ask about?
No, I'm fine. I think this was a great conversation.
Yeah,
I
It's
agree.
just been chill, yeah. No, it's been cool to talk to you guys, yeah.
Was there anything else you wanted to put out there, Bunk, for like all of the people that are watching this and consuming this? Anything you want to, even if you want to tell them that they're all faggots, you know?
No, I think that I don't know. The one thing I will say is the Kuihman stream was incredibly aggro because I gotta be aggro the first time back. I gotta crash back into this community. Okay, it's gonna be, like there's no, it's me. I couldn't do it any other way. But like real shit, I'm gonna try and be nicer to people online. So I'm not gonna call them all faggots.
No, I don't think you should do that. I don't think you should do that.
Nicer type of person. All right. For the fucking grace of my own, I'm not even gonna lie. For my own soul, I think I'm gonna try and be a nicer person to people because it is it's too I feel like I'm feeding into the wrong things. Whenever I come back to streaming, like and the next stream comes up, probably President Sunday debate. Be hyped.
Oh, did you set something up with him?
Yeah. Or he's currently ill, and so we're not doing it right now because he's sick.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever President Sunday unsickens, because that man does not heal, he unsickens, right? Monocle up and all. We should be having a conversation about it, and that should be interesting. Hopefully it's chill. Hopefully I get to have more conversations with people in the future, and it's kind of like
And I hope
subscribe to Bunk.
And I hope Kuihman
Put him
tries
in
to
the
call
bio.
in again. That'll be based. Well, you guys
I
should
really hope. I hope Kuihman becomes a regular on my stream. Oh my god, do you know how fucking adorable? This is why I wanted to be chill with Kuihman. It's like unironically, it's like a big reason why I want to be. It's like imagine if we were just cool. You know how many funny streams would come from that? How many? Because if he thinks he did good in that debate, I'll debate him as many times as he wants. I'll debate him until fucking the cows come home. Alright, real shit. Those will be a series of that'll be a banger YouTube playlist. Okay.
I think people really underestimated you and Synth as well, because if anybody were to take some time to look into your background or Synth's background on just on YouTube alone, like there are a multitude of debates that you have both taken part in that have nothing to do with any of this stupid commentary shit, right? It's all political, like real conversations to debate over. And I think these people just don't know that. They don't know anything about you. They don't know anything about Synth, and it makes them look really dumb.
It's fucking somebody. Oh my god! Somebody said that like Dakota had me as a mentor in Larix's chat, which is funny as fuck because it's like very much so the other way around as that exists. They are. I appreciate to all hell being put next to Dakota when it comes to debate. It's like it's a very good feeling because I think that they're incredibly good whenever it comes to what they do.
I agree.
But that chick is wicked smart. The only thing that holds her back on YouTube is fucking not uploading.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be so real.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny as fuck whenever Kuihman, because internally I'm just like laughing in my head whenever Kuihman's like, no, I'm talking to Dakota instead. And I was like, okay.
He did run. He ran from her.
Well, fuck. If you want to talk to Dakota instead of me, she's less nice and going to be a lot more tactical in the way that she goes about this conversation. I'm gonna be funny.
All right. Well, I don't have any more questions, so we're going to end this off here, Wallbangers, episode 5, and it's amazing that we've even made it to episode 5. Fuck you to everybody who wants us to fail, but, you know, whatever. We'll see you on the next one, episode 6, and, yeah.
Wallbangers for life, gangbangers, let's go.
Bye!